Hey guys, Antoine here, and in this video, I'm gonna share with you the best strategy to make money in real estate in 2022. So I think a lot of real estate investors right now have shiny light syndrome. There's so many different ways to invest. There's so many bright lights that people are going towards. They're trying a strategy for 3 to 4 months and then changing it to do a completely different strategy in a completely different market. But in this video, I'm gonna share with you the best strategy that I think you should be implementing in 2022 to make money in real estate. So no matter who you are, no matter how much real estate experience you have, no matter how much capital you have, you can implement this strategy. So before I dive in, please like this video and subscribe to my channel because I'm going to be giving you guys every tool that I have in my shed to put in your shed so that you can start investing in real estate with all of my tools. So the easiest and best way to invest in real estate and make money in real estate in 2022 isn't with flipping houses, Airbnbs, wholesaling, apartment buildings, anything like that. It's with straightforward single family home rentals. So essentially what this strategy is you go buy a single family home, you clean it up, get it in rent ready condition, rent it out, and then just hold that property and collect cash flow every single month. Now, obviously you've probably heard of this strategy before because it is a very, very simple and easy strategy, but it's all about timing. And right now, I think the best way to invest in real estate, the best investment you can make in real estate is gonna be via single family home rental properties. So first I'm gonna tell you why I think single family home rentals are the best investment right now, and then I'm gonna tell you how you can do it. So first and foremost, interest rates are still very, very low. Sure, the interest rates have gone up over the last couple of months and we're in the 5% kind of range right now, but interest rates historically are still very, very low, and I believe they're going to continue to rise. So before the interest rates begin to creep up and go into the 6s, 7s, and 8s, because they will get there, I would highly recommend going out and buying rental properties and locking in this really low interest rate from 4 to 5%, locking in this interest rate for the next 30 years. Because over the next 30 years, you're gonna be at an interest rate of 5%, where other people that are gonna buy houses next year or the year after, and they're gonna play this waiting game, they're gonna have interest rates of 7, 8, or even 9%. The second reason why is because hedge funds are starting to invest trillions of dollars in this single family home rental property space, and they're starting to commoditize the single family home rental on Wall Street. That's trillions with a T. So the reason why I think this is so important is because the hedge funds currently only own about 1% of the single family home rentals across America. But I've been going to conferences and talking with a lot of these hedge funds, and these hedge funds have a goal of owning around 30% of the single family houses across the country. Now what does this mean? Imagine if there's 100 houses in America and a hedge fund only owns one house right now. The hedge funds now want to own 30 of those houses. And 30 of those houses are just going to be rental properties for the next 10, 20, and 30 years. So this means all this inventory is going to be scraped off the market. So there's going to be 30% of the housing stock of single family houses just completely removed off the inventory. Now what does this do for the rest of the houses? As the inventory of single family houses decreases, the prices for the remaining inventory is going to start to rise. The third and final reason why I think single family houses are the best investment you can make right now is due to inflation. And inflation is coming. Throughout the pandemic for the last couple of years, the United States government, as you probably know, has been printing trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. And as they've been printing all this money, this has caused inflation. And we haven't really seen the ramifications of this inflation yet, but you may see it when you're going and trying to fill up your gas tank because gas prices have been going through the roof. But this is just the beginning. So the Fed is currently telling us that inflation is around 7%, but it may be even higher than that. And 7% is very, very high. I believe that the Fed wanted to keep their inflation rate below 2%. So what that means in simple terms is that every single year, your dollar is being devalued by 7%. But let's say you took your money out of the bank and put it into a real estate rental property, a single family home rental property. Now your property values are going up by 7% every single year. And the reason why I believe that single family houses are a great starting point compared to multifamily is because single family houses are way, way easier to get into. Multifamilies take a ton of capital, a ton of experience, and running the numbers can be very, very difficult. For a single family house, if you even have $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, you can go buy a rental property, rent it out. The numbers are very easy. You can find local property managers very relatively easy, and you can rent out these properties to any family. And if you are a seasoned investor and you already have bought single family home rentals, or maybe you even already own multifamily apartment buildings, I still would recommend looking back at single family houses and single family home rentals. The reason why is there's way more inventory. I can buy 30 single family home rental properties every single month, but I can only buy 1 to 2 apartment buildings every single month because the apartment building multifamily space is very, very overpriced right now. And I think that as the hedge funds continue to buy more single family houses, I think we're going to start to see the single family homes values rise while the multifamily properties are probably going to stay the same. So now that I told you why you need to be buying single family home rentals, I'm going to tell you how you can do it, and I'm going to give you a step-by-step guide on how to go out there and buy your first single family home in the next 30 days. And there's 2 ways to really implement this strategy. One of them is going to take a lot more work, and one of them will be way more passive. The more passive approach would be to buy turnkey rental properties. So what a turnkey rental property is you go to a website like martelturnkey.com, you find a house that's already been renovated, tenanted, property management in place, and our company, Martel Turnkey, will help you get financing on that property as well. So if you have anything from $30,000 to $40,000 saved up, you don't have much time to go out there and implement this strategy, I would highly recommend going to our website, martelturnkey.com, booking a phone call with one of us, and even looking at the properties that you see up on the website. But if you're not looking for something so passive and you really want to put some work in to make a higher return than a turnkey product would offer you, then I'm going to give you the step-by-step guide about how you can do it yourself. So I'm going to go through these steps very, very quickly. But if you want a more detailed plan, there's going to be a link in the description to a 30-minute video about how to do this process step by step. So step 1 of this process is picking a market. So I would use websites like Investor List, and there's a ton of other websites out there to find the best cities with the highest rent to value ratio. Most likely when you're looking for a city to invest in for the strategy, that city is going to have to be out of state. A couple of cities that you can look into should be Cleveland, Ohio, Detroit, Michigan, and St. Louis, Missouri. Now there's a lot more markets to choose from. There's 280 cities that you can invest in the US, but these are just the top 3 cities that I would recommend you go and look in. And if you want a more detailed list, I do have another video where I talk about the top 10 cities to invest in the US in 2022. Once you've chosen the city, now you have to choose what neighborhoods are best for this strategy. There's a couple of things that I look for when researching a neighborhood. You want to find neighborhoods that are close to jobs, close to downtown, I would say within 15 to 30 minutes, and then you want to find a neighborhood that has very low crime to start off. So depending on how much cash you have in the bank, that's going to dictate the purchase price of the property that you can afford. So for example, if you have $10,000 to $15,000 in the bank, you can only afford a $50,000 to $65,000 property. And they are out there. If you have $25,000 to $30,000 in the bank, you can afford a $80,000 property. And if you have $30,000 to $50,000 in the bank, you can afford a property anything from like $100,000 all the way up to $120,000, $130,000. So even if you start the strategy off with just $25,000, you can turn that money into $50,000 in less than 5 years. And you'll be making anything from $300 to $400 every single month in cash flow, which is way better than having $25,000 sitting in your bank account depreciating. And if you get lucky and your house appreciates, which I think it will due to inflation, then you're going to be in a really, really good position. The next step is to begin making offers. You want to start submitting offers on those really, really good deals that you're finding. And the way that I would do this is simply just take the link on Redfin or Zillow, take the deal analyzer that you've made and send it to your realtor, send it to your property manager, and just get their feedback. If both of them agree about the rents, the taxes, the insurance, all those different kinds of things, then you should start making the offers with the realtor you have on the ground. The realtor that you have can write up the offer for you, you'll sign it, you'll submit it in, and I would just start submitting deals at scale. Now don't get stuck in analysis paralysis here. Don't analyze 100 deals and 50 of them are over 15% cash on cash and submitting 0 offers. If a deal is a base hit, it's a good deal. So a base hit deal would be anything from 10 to 20% cash on cash return, and a home run would be anything from 20 to 30% cash on cash return. And when you're first getting started, don't look for the home runs or don't wait for the home runs to start submitting offers, because there may be a reason why it's shown as a home run on paper. There may be some unknowns or hidden things that you or your team just haven't found yet. So for example, it could be on a bad street, a bad block, there could be drug dealers next door. You really don't know until you get into that property and walk that property what these unknowns may be. So now let's say you've submitted 5 to 10 offers and you've got 1 to 2 houses under contract. The next step is going to be to have your team on the ground walk that property for you. You don't have to be there personally. Again, you can do this all remote. But I would have your realtor, property manager, and inspector walk that property for you and collect some feedback from them. What do they think about the market rent or the current rent? What do they think about the property condition? Is there anything that needs to be done to that property right now? I would then take all that information, put it back in my spreadsheet, and still make sure that my deal is a good base hit. Now keep in mind that stuff is going to show up on this inspection report and your team is going to come back with feedback that is not so good. So it's very, very rare that a team's going to come back and call you and say, hey, Antoine, yeah, the house is absolutely perfect. Nothing can be done to this property. It's in pristine condition. It's never going to happen. With these properties, especially if you're buying them below $100,000, stuff is going to come up when your team walks it and when the inspector walks it. So once you've collected all that feedback from the inspector, property manager, and realtor, and you rerun the numbers and everything still works, it's time to close on that property and move forward. So the final step is to close on that property, collect cash flow, and repeat the process. So now that you closed on that rental property, you're going to be making an extra couple $100 every single month. Now that you're making this additional income, I wanted you to save that money, keep saving up that cash in your bank account until you hit $15,000, $20,000 and use that cash to go out and buy more properties. So that first rental property that you buy is just going to be a snowball effect to get you into more and more and more rental properties. And now there is a way to supercharge this, and that's through refinancing. So depending on interest rates and inflation over the next 3 to 5 years, I think there could be a fantastic opportunity for you to refinance the rental property in the next few years. Let's say you bought a house for $100,000 and that house will appreciate over the next 1 to 2 years. That house is now worth $120,000, $130,000, $140,000. You can then go to the bank and see if you can do a cash out refinance and actually pull out your original down payment out of that property. Therefore, you will have none of your own money in that rental property. Now you can use that money to buy the next rental property. So just by buying that first rental property, that one rental property over the next 10, 20, 30 years can build you a portfolio of single family houses, of hundreds of single family houses, making you $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 every single month. And yes, it's going to take time, but it all starts off with that first rental property, that first snowball that you can continue to refinance, pull that money out, and use that free money to go out there and buy more properties. And this is a strategy that I'm personally doing as well. So I started buying my first rental properties personally back in 2017. I sold those properties a couple years later, took that capital, and I've used that capital now to 10x my personal real estate portfolio. And over the next couple of years, as these houses continue to appreciate and the interest rates stay relatively low, I'm able to continue to refinance these properties and pull out this money and use that cash to keep on buying more and more rental properties, all for free. So thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. I hope this video was helpful in shedding some light on what I think is the best way to make money, the best way to invest in real estate in 2022. So please like and subscribe so that you can learn more and more strategies about different ways to invest in real estate. And if you have any questions about this strategy, please ask them below in the comments and I'll try to get to them as soon as I can. Thank you guys, and I'll see you soon.